Hi, everyone. This is Karen Hooley, and I'm so excited to be here live with you today, doing a book review of Ellen Gormley's One Skein Crochet. Now, I see everything backwards, so if you're seeing things backwards, can you let me know? I'm going to go ahead and let's wait a little bit to make sure people are dropping in. Um, I'm actually here today in my studio, which hopefully soon won't be my studio for much longer. I'm actually at the far end of our basement family room. And excuse the mess behind us because you'll see there's some paintwork going on over here on our stairway coming into the basement. And my son just moved out of the house, so we've got things kind of all scattered, and I apologize for that. But I'm really excited because what I'm facing right now is the wall that's between our family room and my son's old bedroom that is going to be my office pretty soon. So I'm really excited. I'll be sharing that definitely on my blog, but maybe even hopefully and here on YouTube as well. I'll do some transformation videos for you. So hopefully, if you're here, go ahead and say hi in the chat. I'm really excited to start talking to you guys. And let me know where you're from. I am in the Pacific Northwest in Washington, just north of Seattle. So you guys, let me know where you're at. I'm going to go ahead and get started, though, with the book review. And again, it's Ellen Gormley's One Skein Crochet. I have a lot of sticky notes in there because I want to make sure I cover a couple things in there as I'm going through this. Ellen and I have known each other a lot of years. We met through the Crochet Guild of America, and she's been a good friend, and she's been my editor when she was the editor of Crochet Magazine, put out by Annie's. And we've become friends. And so I was glad to go ahead and review this book because I know Ellen does amazing work. And so I'm really excited to share this book with you. It was published by Interweave Press. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's the Interweave logo. Many of you know that Interweave was recently bought by Penguin Books. And so Penguin is actually doing the distribution now of this book. It just came out, I believe, in August, and I was supposed to do a video a lot sooner reviewing this book, but with my son moving and all that, everything got pushed back. So I apologize for the late review, but it's an awesome book, and I can't wait to get started and show you what's all inside this book. The main premise of the book is that all of us have a single skein of something in our stash. In fact, I have several Rubbermaid totes with single skeins of yarn because I fell in love with that yarn. And a lot of them have been sitting around for a while. And I don't know, maybe this is true with you too, that you go to a show or you go to a yarn shop and you see the skein of yarn that you've never seen before, and it's so pretty. And it's just speaking to you, but you have no project, but you still buy just that one skein. And that's the premise of this book, is that to find those homeless skeins a home in a project. And she has some really great projects in here, but she also has some great ideas that I want to share with you. Let's go ahead and open up the book. And she has, I forgot to count these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 projects. So you got 15 different ideas to use those single skeins. And but at the beginning of the book, it's really kind of cool because not only does she have the normal information that you start the book with, the introduction, which talks about using those single skeins and stuff like that, and the getting started with, finding gauge and using the right weight and how to figure out yardage and things like that. But she also has a section in here that I found really different. And it's called Design Strategies. I'm just going to give it to you there. And she breaks down different strategies on how to use a single skein of yarn. For example, she has the motif strategy, and it's basically using a single motif, maybe one large motif with several little motifs that you join as you go to use to maximize your yardage. She's got the narrow is necessary. So if you're making a scarf and you want the length to be 60 inches, let's say, and you don't know that if you have enough of this fingering weight yarn, just go narrow and you'll make your yardage. There's the no-sew strategy, which is the join as you go type of thing, or creating motifs without ending off. This create the motif and then you start the next motif kind of thing. She's got the dynamic duo strategy, which when you want to make two identical pieces and then not sure how big they're going to get. So like for mitts or socks or things like that, she's got a strategy for that. She's got a top-down strategy, divide and conquer strategy, corner-to-corner strategy, bottom-up strategy, integrate the edging strategy, which is one of my favorites. You'll know that I do a lot of shawls where I start at one end of the shawl, the side of the shawl, and I go to the other side of the shawl. And as I'm increasing, I'm also working the edging out at the same time. That's a really cool strategy to help reduce well, it's actually a really good way to maximize your yardage. When I'm doing a one skein shawl that way, I'm usually weighing as I go, but I'm incorporating the edging so that when I get to halfway through the skein and I start decreasing, I know I'm going to have enough yarn at the end to end off and weave in ends. So that's a really cool skein, cool strategy. And then finally is the lighten up strategy, which I like as well. It's using really open stitches, less a lot of air between the stitches and things like that. Here's a good example. This is a one skein topper that she's got in the book. And you'll notice there's a lot of air here between all of the motifs. I'm sorry, I'm covering my mouth here, but there's a lot of air. By doing that, you have a way of using one skein to create something that you can actually wear. I mean, that's really hard in crochet because we use so much yarn as we create our stitches. Then she's got a whole section on tips for maximizing yardage right here, which I think is really important for everybody. If there's one thing about this book that I would say you need to purchase this book for, it's this section alone. I mean, you may or may not like the projects. I mean, I know everybody has their own tastes. I love the projects in here, but everybody, may or may not like the projects. But what I can tell you for a fact is this section is worth every cent of this book. She talks about how to avoid bulky stitches and to go airy again using a lot of air. She talks about building with small join as you go motifs, consider the last round of motifs and edging, employ asymmetry. So like what's really popular right now are those shawls that are really wide at one end and really narrow at the other end, the asymmetrical shawls. That's a good way to maximize your yardage, things like that. And even things like skipping and edging. A lot of people right now really like that bohemian unfinished look, like hats without I used to do a lot of reverse single crochet at the bottom of the hat. I've stopped doing that because I really like that first row. I'll use like a extended single crochet, or I'll use a what do you call it? A foundation double crochet to start at the brim of the hat. And I like the way the chain looks at the bottom of those the foundation stitches, and I'll just leave it. I do that with socks as well. So those are a couple things, strategies that she's got in there, but she's got like 4 pages of information on how to do that. And I highly recommend the book solely for that section. I mean, that's an awesome section. Then we're going to get to the projects. I've got my first sticky note that I can actually pull off here. So she's got, like I said, 18 projects in here. I wanted to show you a couple of my favorites. She's got several hats, several scarves. Trying to remember now. I have she's got the one top that I've already shown you, which I really think is cute. She's got several hats, several scarves, some mitts, a purse, actually a purse and a market bag in here. I'll show you that one as well. She's also got a baby blanket, and we'll talk about the baby blanket when we get to the end. But I thought that was an interesting idea for a one skein project. So we'll talk about that in a second. And she's got one cowl and a couple shawls, or actually one shawlette and a wrap. So let's talk about the projects here. Like I said, she's got a lot of scarves. She's got this oval scarf that's actually made with motifs. It's kind of hard to hold these up and show at the same time. Here's another good picture of the scarf. I like that she uses really narrow scarves. Those are kind of popular right now. Here's another narrow scarf. This is narrow as necessary. We were talking about how you can get the length by making your scarf a little more narrow. There's another example of the scarf. She's got the tumbling motif scarf, which uses a lace motif that actually creates the edging as you're making the scarf. So that's kind of a cool pattern as well. All of her patterns include stitch diagrams, so that's important, especially all my followers who love stitch diagrams. So that's really important for you to look at. Here's some mitts. Again, she's got stitch diagrams. Here's a all-in-one piece motif purse. So there's no ends for each motif. So that's a really cool pattern. She uses a lot of DK weight in here. There's some worsted. I think she has 1 or 2 patterns that are fingering and lace weight. I know a lot of my followers are the fingering lace weight people. But don't be afraid to go to the DK or heavier weights too, because a lot of times I will find single skeins of DK weight that I absolutely have to have, and then I don't usually design with those. But hats and mitts are perfect for those things. Here's a hat that's done in a worsted. This is a worsted weight. Let's see, what else does she have? Here's another hat. That's a star stitch hat. This is one of my favorite stitches. And it's really cool because it cinches up in the back. I like that. Here's one of my favorite hats. It's a horizontal slouch hat. Now, this picture doesn't show it as well. I'm going to take the sticky note off here really fast. I love this hat. I might have to make this for me or one of my kids. It's done all in, one piece in the round from the crown down. And it uses worsted weight yarn. She used Verroco vintage for this. I have a couple skeins of yarn that are worsted weight in my stash that I'm thinking would be perfect for this yarn, or for this hat, I should say, the pattern. Here's her coral reef scarf. It's really cool. I like the little fringy edging on it. This is absolutely my favorite pattern in the entire book. I'm a fan of Bruges lace. I don't do it very often, but I love the look of it. And I love this cowl because it's a different way of putting together Bruges lace. If you don't know what Bruges lace is, it's a stitch that has like little loops on the edge. And then when you make it long enough, you can curve it around and then join those loops. And it makes these cool patterns. And I thought this is really cool because she's using wedges. I don't know if you can see those wedges real clearly, but they're wedges that are joined together. And it's join as you go. There's, one end, 2 ends to weave in when you're done. Beautiful stitch charts. Here's the cowl. But I just think this is a really great way to use Bruges lace in a different way. Again, this is that motif top that I showed you with a lot of air. So cute. And again, that's a Bruges lace type of thing too. It's not real true Bruges lace, but it's like a knockoff kind of pattern that gives you that idea. She's got another shawlette here. It's really pretty. Done from side to side, I believe, as well. And she uses Solomon's knot, which is another, this is a wrap done in Solomon's knot. I'm going to back it up just a little. Solomon's knot is another great stitch pattern to utilize when you've got a single skein because it's so light, so airy. You're only making these little knots maybe every inch apart, and the rest is just strands, and you're maximizing your yardage as you go. And for a wrap or even for a top. Um, Solomon's Knot, if you haven't learned it, let me know and I will be glad to do a video on it. Um, it's a great stitch to maximize yardage for a single skein, and that's everybody's question: is how do I use up every bit of this yarn, or how do I make sure I have enough of this yarn? And a Solomon's Knot's perfect for that. Here's the market bag I was telling you about. Isn't that cool? It's a great little market bag. Also one skein, it's a DK yarn, and it's Remix Light, which happens to be one of my favorite yarns too. If you've seen my pattern English Boom, it was done with Remix Light, and I absolutely love that yarn. Here's another really good shot of that market bag. Really cute stitch pattern, kind of using baubles or clusters, I guess is the better word for it. And here's the one motif baby blanket. That's a one skein project. It's using like a granny square type of motif or a mandala type of motif and using 867 yard skein. Of course, that's Red Heart Comfort in that one. So the yarn's maximized. It's a great book. It's a great pattern, I'm sorry. Using a single motif. I used to, when I was a young mom, my kids were still babies, I used to do a lot of single granny square baby Afghans for my friends who were having babies at the time. And most of the time I would buy like a variegated yarn and I could make a single Afghan with a single skein of Red Heart Super Saver actually back then. And so this is an awesome idea, especially if you've got a really high quality acrylic yarn that has a lot of yardage. Red Heart Comfort is one of those. Perfect. My nieces and nephews are all having babies, and this is going to be a pattern that I think I'm going to end up using for a baby Afghan in the future. So anyway, again, she's got all all of her patterns are charted, which I know my followers love this. Hi, Brat's mom. I just noticed a couple people jumped in. Welcome, and hi, Anne from Sweden. Wow, thanks for joining me. I appreciate this. I was just finishing up the review. As soon as I end the live stream, if you haven't been here the entire time, I will, as soon as I finish the live stream, it should upload and you can watch it from the beginning. But this book is amazing, and I hope all of you, if you don't have it, you get a copy. At the very end of the book, of course, it ends with the glossary of terms, and so there's some diagrams here on how to make the basic stitches. So if you're a new crocheter, hi Martha, how are you? It's good to see you. Southern California. Oh, I bet you're having great weather, aren't you? It's kind of cloudy here, so if I look a little dark, I've got the natural light coming in from my my slider next to me, and it's still kind of dark. I was going to turn on a light, but then my glasses got shinier than they are right now, so I apologize for that. Hopefully when I get to my new office, my new studio on the other side of that wall, the glares will go away. After the glossary, she's got a little bit about her. And again, at the beginning, I did mention how I knew Ellen, so you can go back and watch. We've been friends for a while. She's got her acknowledgments and her yarn posters, which is really nice. I do this with my books too. I put in all of the yarn companies that I use, and she did that here as well with their URLs, so that if you want to make one of these projects in the yarn that she used, you can easily go and purchase that yarn. So I'm excited about this book. For those of you who just joined me, I don't know how much you saw, but if you have any questions or comments about the book, I saw Brat's mom says she loves this book and she plans to use it a lot in my staff. I do too. Even if I don't use her exact patterns, because I tend to be one of those people who is inspired by what she's doing. I like I said, that baby Afghan, I'm definitely using for my nieces and nephews. But the very beginning of the book, where she's got all these strategies on how to use every last ounce of your yarn, that's amazing. And I hope everybody is is going to even look at this book just for that one section alone. Nice weather, high 89. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, that's a little warm for me. I grew up in the Bay Area, in the California, San Francisco Bay Area. And one of the reasons I'm glad I'm up here near Seattle is because this time of year, I got married September 29th, and it was 107 that day. So yeah, no, it's in the mid 60s here right now, I think, or probably closer, probably mid 50s right now. We're supposed to get rain in a little bit. So anyway, anybody else have any questions for me about the book, or any questions in general? I'm hoping to, oh, I should mention the giveaway. I forgot about the giveaway. Ellen has graciously offered a copy of the print book, and to all of my followers. And the way we're going to do this is I'm going to have you leave a comment at the bottom of this video, letting me know approximately. I don't want you to go into your stash and count unless you absolutely have to, but how many one single skeins you have that are in your stash, whether they're orphans from another project or it was a skein that you absolutely had to have and you don't know what to do with. At the bottom of this video in the comments, just let me know. Just tell me where you're from and how many skeins you have. So, and then on next Wednesday, I believe next Wednesday, I will go live again and I'll pick the winner. So the only caveat with this is Ellen's asked that we have it for US watchers only. Shipping, because she does not have a digital version of this book. Shipping is a little expensive, and I know, I'm sorry, Anne. But shipping overseas right now is really expensive, and I do understand that because I do that as well when I do a print book. That's why I try to always do my digital books. But this book does not come in a digital version right now. But anyway, does anybody have any questions for me? If not, I want to highly, highly, highly recommend that everybody purchases this book. It's awesome. It's amazing. Ellen is an amazing designer. Thanks, Anne, for being so understanding. I know it's really hard for me to say that, even with my own drawings, that not to do them overseas, and I apologize for that. It's just I wish someday that the postal system will be a little more cost effective. Let's put it that way. Anyway, if not, if you're not going to enter, you can get this book on Amazon. I will put my link in my description at the bottom of this so that you can go and look at it and purchase it. You can also, I believe, get it on the Interweave website. If I will check on that before I finish up this live stream processing and stuff, and I'll put it down in the description as well. And let me know too, if you do have the book, what your favorite project is too. I'd love to hear about that in the comments. And if that's it for everyone, I don't know if you have any more questions for me or comments, but thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. And for those of you who are watching, after the stream is over, please leave me a comment if you have a question or anything. I'm sure Ellen will pop in too and answer questions if she comes on and looks through the comments. I know I've done that for her when she's done interviews or reviews of my stuff. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and sign off right now. I will see you next Wednesday when we draw the winner. And also, I want to let you know, sometime later this week, I will do another live video. I'm going to do an unboxing of a knit crate kit that I got in the mail. I haven't opened it because I want to do an unboxing. Not sure what day yet, because I am getting ready. That's part of the mess behind me is I'm getting ready for Fiber Fusion Northwest, which is this weekend in Monroe, Washington at the fairgrounds. If you're local to me and you're going to go, let me know that you're going to be there, and I'd love to see you in my booth. I'm in booth number 12. So anyway, I'm going to sign off. Everybody have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, all.